Hey YouTube, as a follow-up to yesterday's video where I went in depth of all the movesets and what they updates and what they mean, today I'm going to go over 10 Pokemon that I believe are going to be instant meta Pokemon in the next season of GPL. So I'm going to focus on Great League because that is where the majority of people play. I can do this again for Ultra League if people want an Ultra League video, but we'll focus on Great League for now. And I got 10 Pokemon that have received, it's interesting because some received move updates, others did not. But they will be better just based on what the meta will be. So let's start with number 1 and 2, if you want to call them that, and that is Machamp and Pangoro. And that is because this move of Karate Chop is quite insane. And just to put it in perspective, I'm going to throw up all the sort of OP fast moves and give you an example of why this is so strong. And let's throw up counter, even though counter got nerfed. Okay, so Karate Chop here, as you can see, is a 5 damage but 9 energy per turn. So Mudshot just got nerfed. We can put in Poison Sting just because Poison Sting and Mudshot were clones of each other last season. So the only sort of energy that you get 9 on are the ones that do very, very little damage, right? So Mudshot was a 9. These used to be 9 and 3. So Poison Sting used to be a 3. Mudshot used to be a 3. And then with 9 energy and 9 energy. Now you have Karate Chop, which is a 9 energy, which means it charges super, super, super fast. But it also puts out 5 damage, which is quite high when you look at the actual damage of a move for that energy generation. Someone in the comments mentioned, like, you have the energy generation of Mudshot and Poison Sting, but you have the raw damage of Powder Snow. So this move has just become so OP where you are charging super fast and then also doing a way more amount of damage than you should be for this sort of move. So this Karate Chop is going to make Pangoro and Machamp very, very, very strong. Now, why is it going to make them strong? So if we actually put in just, again, here are the new rankings. The rankings will change a little bit. It's not even close when you're looking at fighting. Like, holy smokes, look at Medi and Annihilate just nerfed into the ground. Poliwrath, all these counter users just took a huge hit here. But Pangoro and Machamp are the top 2, and by far. And here's the reason. The reason is when you look at their fast moves, how long it takes these Karate Chops to get to these charge moves just shows you how strong these Pokemon will be. So Machamp is saying run Cross Chop and Stone Edge. Stone Edge is a legacy move, and so is Karate Chop. So just keep that in mind if you're going to try and run this Pokemon. You need a fast Elite TM and a charge TM Elite to get Stone Edge on. But to get to a Cross Chop is now 4, 4, 4, 4, which means it only takes 4 Karate Chops to get to a move where you're doing 2.26 damage per energy with same type attack bonus. And again, this is Shadow Machamp, so the 20% Shadow bonus. You're doing almost 80 damage at a 35 energy move. That is an insane amount of damage to do for something so quick. And now with Karate Chop, you are getting to that move so fast. So you're going to be doing some damage with the Karate Chop, right? You also get same type attack bonus on this. So your damage per turn is actually 3.6 damage per turn with Karate Chop, while still charging at an insane rate to get you to these moves fast. And Rock Slide obviously got nerfed. You can still use Rock Slide if you don't want to Stone Edge Elite TM that. Because it only takes 5, 5, 5, 5 to get to Rock Slide, and it still gives you a great amount of coverage. And for the most part, you'll just be using Karate Chop and Cross Chop anyways. Stone Edge obviously give you a little hard hitting move. Pangoro is the same situation where you're now so fast charging to get to what is a nuke in close combat. 2.67 damage per energy, only 45 energy to get to for 120 damage. 5, 5, 5, 5. So you are going to be getting to these close combats at an insane pace, which means you can just nuke. You also have a bait move, Night Slash, Actually, you get same type of attack bonus on that. Yeah, that's why it actually looks like not bad in the damage per energy, because you are half dark. So you get same type attack bonus on this Night Slash. So you have a fast move that has a chance to boost your attack. And then you have these nukes that can just kind of one-shot a ton of different Pokemon. So these, just how strong this is in the damage per energy, damage per turn, and energy per turn will make these two fighters instant metas. They'll be everywhere. With all the other metas nerfed because of counter down here. It's actually kind of sad to see like some of these Pokemon that I like using. I like using Surfish before. I've used Hitmontop before. Blaziken and limited metas. Like, you are so nerfed with the counters that you're becoming irrelevant. So if you're going to become relevant, there's only a couple fighters that can rise to the top here. And Machamp and Pangoro should be everywhere on the list here. Let's go to the Pokemon that got moved buffs first, and then I'll go over to the Pokemon that I think are still going to be strong anyways. So I guess Wiggly is one that got a move buff. And so it's still ranked 64, so you can see that's quite low, but it's ranked so low because it's just a pure charmer. Now, Wiggly was the best charm user in Great League last season too. And why is that? It's because its stat product is insane. You have a 1925 overall stat product, a 220 stamina. So whenever you win against this Pokemon, it was actually very bulky. It can take charge moves quite easy. So when you can take charge moves and you have that sort of hard-hitting charm with the Icy Wind that you can lower their attack, you can just like shield once, lower their attack, and then just out-charm them. Now that still exists, but what exists now is a 35 energy move that with same type attack bonus, because you are half normal typing, is hitting at 66 damage. So charm is just very hard hitting, right? It's just a fast damage move. That charge is extremely slow. But now you have 35 energy. All charge moves, 35 energy is the minimum. So you have one of the fastest, tied for fastest charge move in the game that you are getting same type attack bonus on, that is doing damage at a 1.89 damage per energy. So being able to now actually hit with a neutral move that is going to add up damage as opposed to doing like a 10 more energy Icy Wind lowering the attack. I still think people will probably go for Icy Wind a lot of time if you want to lower your attack. But look at the difference between the fast moves on Swift and the fast moves on Icy Wind. Icy Wind is 8, so these fast move count 8, 7, 8, 7. That means it takes 8 charms to get to the first time, 7 charms the second time, 8 the third time, 7 the fourth time. It's 6, 6, 6, 6 with Swift. So only 6 charms to get to what is still a really hard hitting quick move. So with that, because it is the best, again, there's other fairies that you may want to use above it, right? Carbink, Azumarill have been meta for a while. Clefable is getting Swift. Some of that's bait dependent, but Fairy Wind got a buff, so Florges and Weezing are technically above it. But if you're looking for just a pure charmer, and with Machamps everywhere, you can't go wrong, and Pangoro everywhere, you can't really go wrong with a Wigglytuff. Now, Wigglytuff against the fighters is actually probably worse than these other Pokemon. And that is because you are half normal typing. So that means you are taking neutral from fighting as opposed to a lot of these other fairies which are resisting the fighting. So keep that in mind when you're using Wiggly, but I still think the charm with the Swift there is going to make it OP as a charm user. Now, the number 1 ranked Pokemon is Clodsire, and rightfully so, because Clodsire, first of all, it's again, there's 3 things that make a Pokemon strong in Great League: stat product, typing, and moveset. So it already had an insane stat product, 2352 overall, an insanely high stamina. You know, you got that low attack, good defense, super high stamina. So we're looking at the same as like Medi and Azumarill and Lantern. Like, this is the sort of Moose and Carbink. Like, these are the types of stat products that Clodsire already has. So stat product is already great. Typing, ground, poison. Water and ground were around a decent amount last season, but ice and psychic, not so much. And with Mudshot being nerfed, you may see less Mud Boys. I'm going to talk about the Mud Boys in a second here because you got Gastrodon, and I still think Quagsire is going to be strong. But then you have all these resistances, and there's a lot on here that you will see in the meta, right? We just talked about Fairy, Wiggly, and the other fairies getting buffed. We just talked about Machamp and Pangoro getting buffed. for fighting. So you automatically just resist the 2 things that I said are already top meta. Poison stings are going to be all over the place. I'm going to talk about Drapion later in the video. So you resist the poison there. I think that this is going to be like one of the strongest Pokemon. Just the bulk, the typing, the coverage, right? You have, so what happened with this is Poison Sting got buffed. You still have that 4.5 energy, but you have a little more damage than before, 2.4. It's a little more damage, but then you have these just like nukes, right? Coverage nuke for Stone Edge and a hard hitting nuke for Earthquake that you'll get to decently fast, like 877 and then 766 for Stone Edge. So with your bulk, with your typing, and with the buff to Poison Sting and your movesets and a little less Mud Boys and stuff that resist that, you should see a lot of Clodsires. So if you don't have a Clodsire yet, I would recommend getting one. Let's go to Drapion while we're on the subject of this, because I think Drapion is now, I'm going to talk about Feraligatr in a minute too, because Feraligatr didn't get buffed, but it's just going to be a winner by sort of the effects of everything else. I think Drapion is a top 2 safe swap in this meta right now. You nerfed some of the main safe swaps like in Lickitung and stuff like that. And you buffed Drapion's Poison Sting, and Shadow Drapion was already so difficult to deal with because it only takes 4 moves to get to an Aqua Tail and only 5 to get to a Crunch. So when you safe swap this in and you get like a 2 Poison Sting advantage already, you're already throwing, again, a 66 damage move, 1.89 damage per energy, or a 100 damage move, 2.24 damage per energy very, very quickly, right? So these moves add up real fast. It is a very glassy Pokemon, right? 118, 136, 117. So 1892, not the worst, but not the best, especially with the Shadow taking away some of your defense there. But just your ability to spam in this meta, and again, with potentially less Mud Boys, makes you a very, very strong Pokemon. So I think the Poison Sting buff here, again, how much does a 1 damage Poison Sting buff actually do in the long run? We'll see. But I think that it's changed the meta enough that it's gonna be much stronger, because it's not just that the Poison Sting got buffed. You got to remember everything that got nerfed. Gligar as a ground got double nerfed. Skarmory as a flyer, as a steel flyer, got double nerfed. So there's, and Empoleon got the nerf with Steel Wing. So there's a lot of Zap Cannon on Registeel got nerfed. So a lot of the steels and grounds that would cause Poison Sting problems got nerfed. So you may not be seeing as many things that resist Poison Sting as you would before. And if you see an uptick in fairies, right, now that Poison Sting is adding up a little bit more. So I think that Drapion becomes an instant safe swap beast, in my opinion. Let's go over 2 more Pokemon that got moves updates, and then we're going to go over a couple that did not get move updates but are still going to be super strong. Let's start with Gastrodon, and we're gonna combo this with I was supposed to type in Mud Boys, but let's put in is it gonna come up with ground? Yeah, let's just do ground, because there's Clodsire, which I already went over, and then there's Gastrodon at number 6, but there's Quagsire still at 12. So let's start with Gastrodon. So Mud Slap got a buff, and Mud Slap was already something that hit extremely hard. Like when you went after it, against it, those Mud Slaps really add up a lot of damage there. But the problem was it was always slow energy. Sorry, did they up the energy or the power? They upped the power even more, and the energy generation increase. So it's a double buff. So you're getting more power and more energy. So you just got double buffed on this thing. So now you're doing what was already a hard hitting move, hitting for even harder, and now charging faster. So what makes Gastrodon so strong? It has the 2 other things that I've talked about. Stat product, you're looking at that 1958, okay-ish attack. Defense is not great, but you have that 167 stamina to put you close to 2,000 overall. And then you have that typing. You're a Mud Boy. You only have 1 weakness in grass, right? So having only 1 weakness, not a lot of grass in this meta to start with, and now we have more poisons and stuff, so maybe even less grass, and Razor Leaf got nerfed. You have a Mud Boy, great typing, good moveset, Body Slam did get nerfed, but with the hard hitting of Mud Slap with a decent energy generation, Body Slam is going to act as more just your sort of like neutral move if you need it for like on a grass Pokemon, or you need it on flyers, right? Stuff that would resist the Mud Slap and Earth Power. Earth Power is obviously a great move too. 55 energy, 108 damage, so almost 2 damage per energy there. So that should be high. There's one other Pokemon I want to talk about that got buffed, but while we're here, I got to talk about Quagsire. I don't think Quagsire is going away. I think Whiscash with the Mud Shot nerf is probably going away a little more, but Quagsire is not going away. And why is it not going away? Again, stat product, right where you want to be, high stamina, decent, low, okay attack, a little okay defense. You got that typing still, only one weakness in grass. And yes, Mudshot got nerfed, so it's a little slower in the energy generation. But if you still look at the move counts to get to these moves, yes, it was crazy before where you can only do, it used to be 4, 4, 4, 4 for Aqua Tail. It used to be 5, 4, 5, 4 for Mud Bomb. But you're not giving up a ton of fast moves here to still get to these charge moves, right? You're going to have one fast move on the first end here, one on the third, and you're going to have one on the second and one on the fourth. So it's going to take one more fast move in a couple of these spots. But for the most part, you still have everything going for you. You still got the stat product, you still got the typing, and you still got a very, very fast energy generating move, which actually got more damage now. So Mudshot, yes, you lost the energy, but you got a little more damage. And now you can still spam at a crazy rate. So I think with the Mud Boys, like pure Mud Boys, I don't think they're going anywhere. And you can see down here, Whiscash is at 31 and Swampert is at 47. I don't think the Mud Boys are going anywhere. I think there'll be less of them. Maybe. Right? We got to see how the meta shapes out. If I'm seeing more Clodsires, if I'm seeing more Poisons, maybe the Mud Boys are still around to stay. So I would expect at a minimum Gastrodon, Quagsire to be top meta. I'm still a little unclear of how Whiscash and Swampert will be used. I think that just Quagsire with the Aqua Tail, Mud Bomb, Stone Edge provides you ability to spam with a decent bulk that like Swampert doesn't have. So I think they provide you a little more value there. And there's one more Pokemon that got buffed that I think is going to be instant meta, and that is Marowak. And I'm going to talk about, I know the Kanto Marowak is ranked higher. I'm focusing on the A Marowak because I think A Marowak is going to be very, very strong for two reasons. It got two buffs. Fire Spin got buffed and Bone Club got buffed. Now, Bone Club is still not a great move, but it is way better than it was before. And with the same type attack bonus, you're now looking at like a 1.9 damage per energy for a 35 move. So that's actually quite strong for a 35 energy move. It puts you on par with like Body Slam back before it got nerfed. And then you have this Fire Spin, which charges at an okay 3.33 energy per turn. Is not bad. But that damage now, this is the second buff that Fire Spin got in the last couple of seasons now. So Fire Spin got buffed. You have a Bone Club that is way, way better now. And you still have a very, very quick Shadow Bone, same type attack bonus, 2.56 damage per energy. So being able to hit for 115 damage for only 45 energy is huge. And Ghost, I'm going to talk about Ghost in a second, but I think this is one Pokemon that it's the best fire Pokemon for sure. You can put in fire. It is by far the best fire Pokemon there in this meta right now. And as a ghost, it may even be one of the top ghost Pokemon. It is the top ghost Pokemon. So you have the top fire and ghost Pokemon in one. And again, with a bunch of poisons, you have a much better Bone Club to hit it with. With a bunch of fairies as the fire, you resist fairy. With potentially less Mud Boys, again, I still think we'll see a decent amount. Like maybe you don't have to see Mud Boys as much anymore. So I think this Pokemon is an instant riser based on its moveset. So I got two risers here. I already kind of went over Quagsire, so that's kind of like my third one that did not get, actually Quagsire got nerfed, and I still think it's going to be super strong. But there's two that came to my mind, and the first one is Feraligatr, because Feraligatr did not get nerfed, And last time I checked, Shadow Claw and Hydro Cannon are still two of the best moves in the game. Shadow Claw is one of the best fast moves in the game. Hydro Cannon is one of the best charge moves in the game. You still have that raw damage that's coming from Feraligatr's 123 attack. Very basically balanced attack, defense, stamina. It's pretty glassy, but when you get that shadow bonus on the attack, it's very, very strong. And again, if you see more grounds, right? You put in ground. There's a lot of ground up on this list, right? Clodsire, again, these are mud boys, so you're still only neutral there. But then you have Marowak, and then you have Diggersby, and then there was the fire like Marowak. So I think that because Shadow Claw did not get nerfed and Hydro Cannon did not get nerfed, Feraligatr remains probably the best safe swap in Great League and one of the best Pokemon. As you can see by the rankings 3 and 4, that does not surprise me. It should not surprise you. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Shadow Claw is one of the best fast moves in the game. Hydro Cannon is one of the best charge moves in the game. Put them together with a decent stat product and a good water typing, you are good to go. So Feraligatr should still be everywhere. If you don't have one yet, I would probably get one. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is Ghost. And I don't know which one's going to rise. I think Marowak for sure, but I don't know about these other ones, which is going to rise. But Ghost will rise. And Ghosts are going to rise for two reasons. One is a bunch of them got buffed with Astonish, right? You have Marowak that got buffed with Fire Spin and Bone Club, but Dusknoir, Drifblim got that Astonish buff. So you have a way harder hitting charge move in Astonish here. Went from like 9 to 12 damage. So the damage per turn is quite strong now for what is an okay energy. Like Hex is obviously better for energy generation, but now in terms of energy and damage combo, Astonish is a good move. So one day a bunch of these got buffed with Astonish. The other reason, and I honestly think that Drifblim, Trevenant, Gengar's kind of glassy, but Sableye, I think all these Ghosts in practice are going to play way higher. And again, the reason I say that is because you have the way the meta is going, you have two things that are increasing a lot of. Poison and fighters. Specifically, fighters that don't have like Shadow Balls. I know that Machamp has payback, so you can potentially use payback on Machamp. And actually, I take that back. Pangoro has Night Slash because it is half, which is why Sableye may be actually better for neutralizing that. But between the poison, which Ghost resists, and the fighting, which Ghost resists, I think that based on the current meta, one of these Pokemon are going to rise to the top. I don't know which one yet. I like using Renorigus. You now have a more quick Brutal Swing. So it's a bait move down to 35 energy. Plus that Shadow Ball is still a nuke there, right? So you still have Shadow Claw, one of the best fast moves in the game. So there's going to be a Ghost that rises to the top just based on the current state of the meta. I just don't know what one it is yet. I think it's going to be a Shadow Claw user. And it's going to be I think it's going to be Dusknoir, or it's going to be Drifblim or Trevenant. I think those are the ones that I would watch out for in this meta, because again, I think Ghost is going to have a good time against some of these top ranked Pokemon here. Plus, with Body Slam nerfed, you may see less normal typings, less Vigoroth, less Lickitung, which Ghost would have problems with because normal typing double resists Ghost. So with all those normal typings out of there, Ghost, I should rise. So that's my thoughts on what will be meta in the Great League. Again, I didn't cover some of these other Pokemon. And I'll tell you why I didn't cover some of these other Pokemon. I think some of them are obvious. Like Carbink, just with its like insane bulk. Azumarill here at like 18. Like these are the XL Pokemon that have been strong for a while now because of its typing, stat product, and moveset. Mostly stat product, quite honestly. So I don't really need to cover those. Mandibuzz, because Wing Attack got nerfed and Steel Wing got nerfed. If you're looking for a flyer to deal with all these, Mandibuzz did not see any nerfs with Snarl, Dark Pulse, Aerial Ace. Let me confirm. Aerial Ace did get nerfed, right? No, just Sky Attack got nerfed. Yeah, Sky Attack got nerfed and Wing Attack got nerfed. So with Aerial Ace, it's your main flying Pokemon now, because all the other flying Pokemon got sort of nerfed into oblivion. Right, you have Jumpluff, which is half flying, but it got a buff because of Fairy Wind, so you'll see more there. And then you're going down all the way down to 74 with Frickalarian and Moltres. So if you're looking for a flyer, Mandibuzz, which was already very, very strong in the Open Great League, is going to be very strong now. So like there's a few Pokemon like that are just very, in my opinion, obvious that they should be strong. And I'm still, what's great for me is I got a lot of Pokemon to test that I'm still like, I don't know about you yet. I want to test you out. So Dunsparce is up here with Rodro and Rockslide. It's ranked really, really high. I'm more interested in trying Clefable and Licky Licky. So those are ones I want to check. I want to track the normal Marowak with the Mudslap, Bone Club, Rockslide. I want to see how much this Jumpluff was always very bulky. So having that little bit of Fairy Wind buff, I think, is one worth checking out. So there's a lot of Pokemon on this list I want to test, like Quillfish with the Poison Sting, that I can't really make a judgment right now saying, oh yeah, these will be meta or they won't be meta, because I don't know yet. I can safely say that the ones I named, Machamp, Pangoro, Wiggly, Clodsire, Feraligatr, a Marowak, Gastrodon, Quagsire, Drapion, and then one of the ghosts, I can safely say that's going to be the meta, just based on how Pokemon are shaping up based on the move nerfs and buffs. So that is it. Those are my first thoughts. Let me know if you think there's any Pokemon in like the top. Again, I went as low as like 100. So let me know if there's any Pokemon that you think like, oh yeah, I really think this Pokemon is going to be a very strong meta. Like I was thinking Dugong too, quite honestly. I think Dugong will be strong. It's kind of a tricky one. I know, because Lantern got nerfed again, right? So with less Skarmories, maybe you're going to see less Lanterns, which is one of the things. You're going to see some counter users, not counter users. I got to stop saying counter users. You're going to see some Karate Chop users in Pangoro and Machamp, but you're not going to see a lot of them, like a lot of other fighters. So taking away an Electric, taking away fighting, like nerfing rock type moves like Rock Slide should theoretically make Dugong better too. So there's a bunch of Pokemon in here that I think could be potentially strong, and this is why it's good. Like I can see some of these Pokemon in these 70s. Like I want to I've used Moltres and it's very slow. Like it was very slow. Oh, the problem was its moves, its charge moves. It's too glassy, and then it has like only nukes of charge moves. So that was always the problem. So I don't know how much better Shadow Sucker Punch will make it. I'm kind of weary of that one. But yeah, some of these other ones that got buffed, I'm interested in checking out. Anyways, that's enough of that. Those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will see you guys in the next one.